Every now and then I might see a trailer for a game and just not be able to decipher quite what the game is. So I take onus onto myself to go through the effort and find out the hard way. Last time I done this was with Tokyo Tattoo Girls on the Vita, and boy did that not turn out too well. This time around we're looking at Gal Metal. What the f is a Gal Metal? Gal Metal is a Nintendo Switch rhythm game by DMM Games, Marvelous, and Xseed. However, for better or worse, this probably isn't quite the kind of game you think of when you hear the words rhythm game. For starters, there's no scrolling bar of notes for you to hit in time with a song to succeed, and there's also a heavy focus on story. We're gonna start by looking at the story, as this to me was the real highlight of Gal Metal. In its native language, Gal Metal was originally known as Garu Metal, which in a manner of speaking means fake or pretend metal. This title is actually quite reflective of the story and something that was largely lost in the name's translation. The game starts by completely spiraling out of control. One day, while minding our own business, our main character gets approached by aliens. Aliens whom happen to hate metal music. It is up to you and a secondary main character to fend the aliens off, but not until after they pull a kind of body swapping trick on you and put the male's consciousness into the female's body, which of course leads to some light, etchy hijinks later on. The girl, now with the mind of the boy living inside her, goes to the school's metal club where she joins up and takes up the job of their drummer, despite having no real skill behind the kit, hence Garu Metal. From here on out, the story is just a rinse and repeat of alien attacks, and you defending Earth by playing metal at them. In a way, this also reminds me of the 1996 film Mars Attacks, where music is once again used to defeat aliens as they are invading. The writing doesn't take itself seriously at all, and this is a good thing. At times it thematically reminds me of K-On!, at other times Metalocalypse or The Pick of Destiny. The story plays out mostly in these little comic book style cutscenes, though other chunks are told through text message conversations that, while fun to read, are very annoying to listen to for a hermit like me who typically keeps his phone on silent. In between cutscenes and jamming, you also get to click around on this little map, which will give you the opportunity to hang out with friends and deepen your bonds with them. You also get the chance to raise and lower stats depending on how you spend your time. Your stats come in 5 categories and mostly just help to grant bonus points at the end of every performance. This stuff is all optional. The real gameplay is of course the song performances, the actual rhythm part of this rhythm game, and this is where the game just doesn't really do it for me. The main goal here is to perform metal as a drummer, and earn a high enough score to repel the alien invaders. Sometimes aliens will attack while you are drumming and you'll need to time a simple hit to deflect their lasers. But otherwise, there's no set beats or patterns you need to hit. It's just the more beats and patterns you play, the higher your score will go up. You do have the opportunity to learn beats before actually having to perform, but whether or not you use the beats they show you is up to you. I like the idea of this freedom to just play whatever beats you want and rock out, but the game feels anything but responsive, and unfortunately this kind of completely kills it for me. The songs are at a higher BPM than your controls allow you to mess around with in any intricate way. So if you're looking to run some fun patterns with 16th note hits on your hi-hats, quarter notes on your snare, and 8th notes on your kick pedal, with maybe the occasional drum fill or cymbal hit here or there, you're not gonna find what you're looking for. You have 3 control schemes to choose from. The recommended is the motion controls, waving around your Joy-Cons like they're drumsticks. The right Joy-Con triggers the kick pedal and the left hits the snare. If you shake them both at the same time, you hit a crash symbol. Not only is using your arm to hit a kick pedal completely immersion breaking and kind of antithetical to the purpose of the game's design, but it doesn't even really work that well. The problem here is that the inputs are delayed and inconsistent, and feel very difficult to adjust to. Sometimes a swing won't trigger anything at all, and sometimes it'll double trigger. Most of the time it just triggers later than you'd think, and before you know it, the whole track is off beat, and the performance becomes very difficult to recover, especially considering the absence of a metronome. The game acknowledges that latency may occur as part of a normal delay going from the console to the television, and its solution to this isn't like the old Guitar Hero games where you could just run a timing mechanism and the game would adjust for the input delay, but rather they tell you to just plug headphones into the Switch while it's docked. Given most headphones have a cord length of 3 to 4 feet, I don't think this is a very graceful solution.
Oh yeah, this works great!
You're really loud.
What?
You're being really loud.
I can't hear you. I'm being loud?
Now, I'll grant that this isn't an issue everybody will experience, as screen delay changes from screen to screen and from game to game. But it was incredibly present during my play with the game, and the fact that the game offers no way to compensate for it, despite this being a regular thing in rhythm games for 20 years, raises an eyebrow. The other control schemes aren't nearly as fun as waving around your Joy-Cons at an imaginary kit, but they have far less functionality issues, which made them preferable to me. By just pushing buttons, you can control a beat, and as you can see on the screen, each button is mapped to a different drum. This is much more playable, but still delayed and still hard to adjust to. The last control scheme is on the touchscreen, which I would say works the best and has no latency issues. But then you lose the ability to play on the big screen with really good speakers, and that's not really an ability I want to do without. Even with these issues though, I was still able to beat the game with ease, even though most performances sounded like this. So clearly, accuracy is not all that important in this game. A blessing in disguise, really. Had accuracy actually mattered, this may have been unbeatable for me. As much as just flailing around could be fun, I can't say that it was. I never felt like I was actually in control of my flailing. I never felt like I was able to do what I really wanted with these beats, and the best reason to play the game for me was just gone, leaving me with no option but to play the most rudimentary and boring beats to every song. Only off time, every time. Gal Metal otherwise has all the regular trimmings of a rhythm game, from your free play to your practice modes, but the setlist is very small at around 15 tracks. And the game itself is very short. It took around 5 hours for me to complete this, but if you were to skip the cutscenes and the optional social and stat stuff, you could probably knock this one out in about 25 minutes. The songs are mostly comprised of metal renditions of classical tunes, which might not sound appealing to many people, but I do personally love me some neoclassical guitar wankery. I also really like the art style. It's amateur by design, and I think they play into this as a strength. During some skits in the social sections, for instance, characters are like little popsicle stick puppets, and it just looks really charming to me. Other times though, Gal Metal can be pretty damn ugly. The clouds here, the resolution of this graphic down here, the UI on the map screen, and the sound effects, as I stated earlier, they can be really annoying. But even when they're not annoying, they're not really good. It's a cheap game, thank God. I did enjoy the parts that weren't rhythm-oriented, but that's definitely not enough for me to ever recommend it, especially given the wealth of other great rhythm games on Switch that you can also get on a pretty good sale now. No, in the end, I kinda feel like Gal Metal was pretty bad. For some people, it will definitely click, and I can see some people getting enjoyment out of this, but for me, and in my play conditions, it really just did not work. Which is a shame, because it has some cool ideas. If they found a way to make the game feel a little more functional and interactive so you could properly experiment as a drummer, add a metronome to each song so you don't end up completely lost the second you come off beat, and add a way for the game to adjust for its technical shortcomings in terms of screen delay and latency, rather than pushing that problem off on the player to find a way to awkwardly play around, and we might be somewhere. But as it is, this isn't really a good game. Good ideas, but far too many problems left unaccounted for.
Now, I don't have a hate on for rhythm games or anything, but I do feel like you could do way better than what Gal Metal offers at the same price. If all you want is a goofy sci-fi kind of rhythm game on the cheap, and I mean on the cheap, wait for a really good sale, then this game has you covered, but otherwise, nah, you can do way better. And unfortunately, that's where I have to leave it. That's all I have to say on Gal Metal. Thank you once again for tuning in to Tarks Gauntlet, the place where all the coolest kids with diseases hang out. If you guys like the video, you know the deal. Like, comment, subscribe, share the video if you can. If you really like the content and want to support the show, consider supporting the show on Patreon for as little as $1 a month. As always, folks, thanks for watching. I'm being loud? That was really, really poorly telegraphed. She doesn't care.